Namaste guys, Rajesh here for Namaste Tech, and in this video I'm going to show you some of the top tips and tricks for the Galaxy A50s and the Galaxy A30s. Now while I'm using the Galaxy A50s in this video, almost all the tips that I'll be showing are also going to be applicable for the Galaxy A30s. These tips will help you in getting the most out of these phones and even discover some unknown and hidden features. But before I tell you about the tips and tricks, if you're coming to our channel for the first time, please make sure to hit that subscribe button below and also the bell icon so that you'll be notified of all our future videos. So first, let me quickly tell you some camera related tips and tricks for the Galaxy A50s and A30s. The Galaxy A50s comes with a primary 48 megapixel camera at the rear, but by default it only shoots photos at 12 megapixel. If you want to take 48 megapixel photos on your Galaxy A50s, you have to change the aspect ratio from 3:4 to 3:4H. You can see then it shows 3:4 high 48 megapixel, which means that all the photos now that you will take will be in 48 megapixel resolution. Do note that clicking photos in 48 megapixel resolution will lead to a noticeable shutter lag, and you also won't get many of the advanced camera features that are available when you shoot at 3:4 or 12 megapixel resolution. If you go into the camera settings, you'll find some very useful camera related options. Now by default, the Galaxy A50s and A30s take photos in JPEG format, which is pretty good, and since these phones come with a micro SD card slot and plenty of internal storage, you won't really have to worry about running out of space. However, if you wish to, you can save photos in HEIF format on these phones. What this will do is shift to high efficiency format, which will translate into a saving of around 20 to 40% per image. So if a photo is of around 1 megapixel while in JPEG mode, its high efficiency version will come in at around 700 KB. Similarly, for videos, you can also switch to HEVC format, which will save videos in a more efficient HEVC format and translate into a saving of around 20 to 30%. The Galaxy A50s can record videos in 4K resolution, but at 4K, as you can see here, it does not support any video effects and video stabilization. So my recommendation is to stick to recording videos at Full HD resolution. This way you can enjoy video stabilization as well as the other video effects that you can find inside the camera app. Now, another useful camera tip, there are plenty of modes in the camera app of the Galaxy A30s and A50s. I'm not really fond of them. I find them to be a bit too cluttery. You can actually hide some of the camera modes as well as even reorganize them. If you go into settings camera modes, you'll find the edit modes option. From here, you can simply hide the modes that you don't want to use. So I can hide the pano mode and say the slow motion mode. And as for the others, I can actually drag and drop this list to arrange them. So now the night mode will be right next to the photo mode and the live focus mode will be at the last. So you can see now the night mode is right next to the photo mode. Similarly, in camera settings, you'll find an option to keep using the last mode. So if you exit the camera app while using night mode, and then when you again open the camera app, it will switch back to the night mode instead of photo mode. If you want this to happen, enable this feature. If you do not want this to happen, don't enable it. The last camera related tip, if you want to add a watermark, say triple camera shot on Galaxy on all the photos that you have taken from your Galaxy phone, enable this watermark option. You can also customize the watermark to a certain extent. By default, you can see it will show Samsung triple camera shot with my Galaxy A50s. However, you can customize this watermark to a certain extent. While the Samsung triple camera watermark is going to be there, you can customize the message below it and add whatever text you want to. So this was it for the camera tips and tricks. Now let's move on to some other useful system related tips and tricks. If you go into the settings menu under display, you'll find the option font size and style. What you can do here is that apart from changing the font size, you can also change the font type. By default, Samsung is preloading two other system fonts, Samsung One and Gothic Bold, though you can download more from the Galaxy store. The disappointing part here is that you will only find a couple of free fonts, Samsung Sans and Harmonia Sans, and almost every other font available on the store is a paid one. Nonetheless, you should try changing the system font on your Galaxy A50s and A30s as it gives the UI a very fresh look. By default, the Galaxy A50s comes with a navigation bar that you can see at the bottom. In case you want to switch to navigation gestures, just go into settings display where you'll find the navigation bar option. Here, you can not only customize the order of the navigation bar, but also switch to full screen gestures. Samsung's full screen gestures are not really well done, and they basically replicate the navigation bar. So while the navigation bar is hidden, these gestures work in the same way. So my recents button was here. So if I swipe up, I go to the recents menu. If I swipe from here, I go back. If I swipe from the middle of the screen, I go to the home screen. Again, I'm not really fond of Samsung's navigation gestures. I'll just recommend everyone to use the navigation buttons. The Galaxy A50s comes with an always-on display, and you can customize it to a certain extent. Go to Settings, Lock Screen. Here you will find the always-on display option. First, enable it if it's not already enabled. And then you can find two very useful options. First, whether you want the always-on display to be always on and show all the content continuously, or you want it to be shown for 10 seconds and then the display will turn itself off. In this mode, the display will only turn on in a low power mode and automatically switch off after that. You can also schedule always on display to turn on and turn itself off during a particular time of the day. There's also the option to show the music information on the always on display, along with the ability to rotate it to landscape mode. Both the Galaxy phones come with pretty big batteries, so you can use always on display without worrying about the battery life of these devices. Now, one thing that I absolutely hate about the lock screen of the Galaxy A30s and A50s is how the lock screen wallpaper always changes when I unlock the phone. I'm not really fond of that, and I just prefer if the phone sticks to the wallpaper that I have set. You can disable this feature. Samsung calls it dynamic lock screen. For that, go to Settings, Lock Screen. Scroll to the very bottom where you'll find the dynamic lock screen option. Simply disable it. In case you like this feature, well, you can customize it. Just tap on it and you'll get the various categories of lock screen wallpapers that can be displayed. The phone downloads wallpaper packs for your lock screen and the images will refresh about every 2 weeks. I don't particularly like this feature, so I just prefer to keep it disabled. Another useful lock screen related tip. If you want, you can customize these two lock screen shortcuts on your A30s and A50s. From the settings menu, go to lock screen, app shortcuts. Now here you can see the left shortcut and the right shortcut. The left one is assigned to the phone app currently, while the right one is assigned to the camera app. If I want, I can customize it. So for the left one, I can assign it to the clock, while the right one, I can assign it to, say, the file manager. I can even hide these lock screen shortcuts. Just tap on the floating button and then you can see that the lock screen shortcuts have been hidden, and to access them, I have to tap on this dot and then drag my finger to whichever app I want to open. So I tap on this one, then drag my finger to whichever app I want to open. If I just want to unlock the phone, I swipe up anywhere on the lock screen. Now here are some very useful multitasking related tips and tricks for your Galaxy phone. If you want to quickly switch between two different applications on the phone, you don't really have to go to the recents view and then tap on it. You can simply double tap the recents app button to switch forth between these applications. You can see I went from the messages app to the settings app, and by tapping the recents app button, I'm switching between them instantly. You can also run applications in multi-window on your Galaxy phone. Go to the recents app view and then tap on the app icon that you want to run in split screen. Select the split screen view option from there. Now automatically you'll be presented with a list of open applications that can be opened in split screen mode. So I'll open messages along with the settings app, and you can see I can use both of them at the same time. There's also a drag handle at the middle of the screen, using which I can adjust the viewing area of both applications. Now that's not it. What you can do is even open applications in pop-up view. Pop-up view means the application will run in a floating window format. It's actually a great feature to have, and one that's not even available in stock Android. You can see that messages is currently in a floating window format, and I can tap on it to expand it, or just tap on the minimize button to hide it. The floating window icon can also be dragged anywhere across the display, and if I want to close it, I can just tap on the X icon here. Remember that floating window and split screen multitasking are not supported by all applications. Developers must explicitly update their application to support this feature. The Galaxy A series comes with very useful motion gestures that are disabled by default for some reason. Go into Settings, Advanced Features. Here you will find the motion gestures option, and there are some really useful ones which are disabled by default. So lift to wake, as the name suggests, will ensure that your phone's display is automatically turned on whenever you pick up the phone. Similarly, there's also the double tap to wake gesture, using which you can wake up the phone's display by simply double tapping on it. Smart Stay is a very handy option that's disabled by default for some reason. What it does is ensure that the phone's display remains on as long as you're using it. It uses the front camera to detect your face and ensure that your phone's display does not turn off as long as you're just viewing content on it. Smart Alert, well, it makes sure that your phone vibrates every time you pick it up and there's an unread notification, say a missed call or some unread messages on WhatsApp or Telegram. This way you will know whether you should check your phone or not. Easy Mute, it's a common feature that's available on a lot of other smartphones. You can simply flip your A50s like this to mute any incoming call or alarm. Similarly, you can even put your hand on top of the display to mute any incoming call or alarm. In case you find the Galaxy A50s and A30s too big for one-handed use, there's a one-handed mode that you can activate. There are two different ways to activate one-handed mode on the A50s and A30s. The first one is the gesture mode, in which you will have to swipe diagonally from any of the corners of the navigation bar. So swipe diagonally from here to enable one-handed mode, or I can swipe diagonally from here to enable one-handed mode. There's also a button shortcut in which you have to tap the home button 3 times. Depending on your preference, you can select whichever option you prefer. I personally prefer the gesture option. Lastly, a very simple way to capture screenshots on the Galaxy A50s, a palm swipe. I don't really like this feature though, and I personally find the swipe down 3-finger gesture on many Redmi phones and Realme phones to be far useful than this. The palm swipe to capture gesture is pretty tricky to get right at first shot, and this gesture cannot be used while the keyboard is shown, which is a bummer in my opinion. In case you don't like this gesture, you can always turn it off. The Galaxy A50s and A30s come with dual SIM functionality, so it's possible that you will want to use 2 copies of WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger or any other application on this phone. If that's the case with you, just go to Settings, Advanced Features. Here you will find the Dual Messenger option. Tap on it. The phone will automatically show the list of applications that support this feature. So if I enable Dual Messenger for Facebook, it will install a second copy of Facebook that will be independent of the first copy. So I can log into 2 different Facebook accounts from the same phone. There's also a very handy use separate contact list option in which I can only select specific contacts that will be shown for the second application. You can see that this is the second copy of Facebook on my Galaxy A50s from the dual messenger icon at the bottom. So that's about it for this video guys. These were some amazing tips and tricks for the Galaxy A30s and A50s. I hope you found them useful. If that's the case, please do subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like this video. Thanks for watching.